Today we're gonna look over the top 5 fan-made agents that I found all over Reddit. The agent Hound from Reddit user JC_San Pedro. Now this one, I think that the art is actually really cool. It would be super sweet to see a dog-like character in Valorant. And this guy actually provided graphics for us, which look really clean. As we can see here, Agent Zero Hound is the very first Radiant, experimented Radiant, a product of deep experimentation to understand the first light. The canine among soldiers, Hound, by means of his extraordinary senses, he can barge in the battlefield with ease, clearing paths for his comrades. He is always loyal, can be trusted, and never leave a friend behind. Just like a real dog, dude, and dogs are great. Checking out the agent profile, he's gonna be a duelist. His first ability, Leap, will let him jump high forward and daze enemies within the landing area. I could just imagine this for like entering sight. If someone's like camping in the corner, you could just like leap at them and then kind of stun them. The next one is called Dog Snack, and the description here is eat some kind of dog snack that recovers portion of health over time. So kind of like a Sage Shield, but only for yourself, or even like a Phoenix Molly. The next ability is Animal Instinct, which basically scans the surrounding area with a ripple of pulses that detects and reveals nearby enemies, which really sounds like an initiator ability. Hound's sight becomes gray during the scan and only the scan enemies will be highlighted. And then his ultimate is called Predatory Instinct. Hound enters a predatory mode that activates Animal Instinct in a longer duration. During this mode, Hound moves and fires a little bit faster than usual. So it sounds kind of like a KO ult or a Reyna ult, where your movement and possibly even your gunfire is a little bit faster. And also it's giving you that Animal Instinct ability where you're able to see highlighted enemies, kind of a lot like what Reyna has. The next agent is from Reddit user FewGoat3038, and his name is gonna be Frost. I think he took a lot of inspiration from Yoru, as you can see from the jacket, and also looking at some of this concept art. And I like this picture here a lot because he doesn't explain the ability so much, but rather he just shows pictures. So we're gonna check this out. His Q ability looks like a water wall, which first off, I actually love like the water everything. It reminds me of like Kisame from Naruto or something. But yeah, his Q ability, basically he shoots up a water wall. I would imagine that this acts kind of like a Sage Wall. I just wonder if you could push people up with it, but also it just looks like a temporary barrier where you could just block off a certain area. His C ability, looking at this one, I'm not exactly sure what it does, but it looks like that you just shoot a little water shield forward, and I would imagine that when you would hit someone, it would just stun them. Now his E ability, this looks pretty crazy. So you would shoot ice at someone and freeze them. So not only would this like stun the enemy, but this would also just get them trapped in one spot. Dude, this would be insanely overpowered if we actually had this in game. Like that, for me, that would be more of like an ultimate ability if you could literally just freeze someone in space. Like that would just be a free headshot. Maybe like when you'd shoot them, the ice would encapsulate them so it would actually deal less damage to make it a little bit more balanced. But overall, the idea is really interesting. And then there's like a giant wall too. I don't really know exactly what that's trying to describe, but kind of going back to like the Q ability, I wonder if this is like multiple waves of water that you could shoot at people, kind of like a breach ult to like push people out of the way. But again, to make it a little bit balanced, maybe not stun them. And now his ultimate ability, and this is why I brought up Kisame, dude, it's literally just a giant water style shark jutsu thing. And I would imagine kind of like a Sova ult, it would just shoot straight forward. And now looking at how menacing the shark looks, I would imagine that this would be able to kill enemies, or at least maybe like a breach ult, maybe it would like shoot them up and stun them. Maybe even a combination of the both, deal some damage and also shoot them up and stun them. Really interesting concept there. I do love the water ideas. Next up from Reddit user Detrimonious, I don't know. He has the new controller agent of Set, and going through his abilities, his C ability is going to be called Dune Rounds, which you can buy one, it costs 200 and lasts about 10 seconds. The description here is equip a sand pillar, fire to place the pillar. Upon placement, the pillar will funnel sand bullets to all allies in range, providing unlimited ammo. It also says that it has the same radius as a brimstone stim beacon. And it basically describes that your clip will go down to 1 bullet, but will just stay there, and then you'll be able to shoot unlimited bullets. The Q ability would be called Sand Trap. You buy 2, each one costs 100, and these last for 5 seconds. The description is equip a sand trap, fire to throw a sand trap forward that expands upon landing, creating a small field that slows all player movement against the directional arrows. And this one basically just sounds like a Sage slow, or even like a chamber slow, which overall those abilities are really good and viable. It's great for stopping or slowing pushes. Next up, the E ability is called Sandstorm. You can have up to 2 of these and they recharge after 35 seconds, and these last 12 seconds long. You equip a sandstorm and see its range indicator. When you fire it, you will throw the storm to the marked area location, creating a long-lasting smoke that blocks vision. And then you can click the right mouse while targeting to move the marker further away. So basically this is kind of like Omen's smokes as far as like how you line it up, but unlike Omen's smokes, the sandstorm travels across the map as it's full size and at a slower speed. And all players caught in the sandstorm while it is traveling or stationary are nearsighted. So overall, this kind of sounds like an Omen blind that you can kind of push further across the map. And now the ultimate ability is called Mirage, which basically this Mirage ultimate ability, you will cast a giant sandy wall that moves forward and it will hide all allied players. So basically this sounds like something that you could just shoot off at a site and then you could just have the whole squad run behind it for cover. Kind of like a neon wall, kind of like a Viper wall, except it moves with you and moves forward. Really interesting. I feel like that this ability to be able to throw a wall forward would be able to throw off enemies really well. Even in clutch situations, you could just throw it off one direction and then go the opposite way. This ultimate's really cool. I feel like that it has quite a bit of potential. Next up, we have JJ from Reddit user Raijinigiri, and he's going to be a controller agent. For a little bit of lore, her real name is Jacqueline Jackson, which is where you get the name JJ from, and she once went to a trip with her family to Venice, Italy. Among her family, she was the sole survivor of the incident that caused the map, as we know as Scent, to fly up into the air, which this event killed her whole family, so she's now just by herself. Which the character design of JJ is really cool. It reminds me of just some sort of like Dragon Ball Z character or something with the hair. We have a passive ability called Hijack, which basically you will fire at enemy traps to temporarily put them in JJ's control. This is insane, dude. Imagine trying to entry onto a site where you have like a bunch of Killjoy stuff set up or a bunch of Cypher stuff. You can literally just use their passive to take over like a turret or to take over a camera. That'd be kind of insane. For a passive, I think that might be a little bit overpowered, but I like it. I like it, dude. We have the ability Jacket, and this is described as an ability where you can equip a magnetic gas emitter. You will fire to throw the emitter that perpetually remains throughout the round. You can click the alternate fire key to open a tactical map and set locations where the emitter will perpetually remain throughout the round. You can reuse this ability at its direction to create a magnetic gas cloud at the cost of fuel. So kind of like a Viper wall or something where it has a limited amount of fuel. This ability can be reused more than once and can be picked up to be redeployed. And basically, the Jacket ability will just block bullets from the outside. We have Jacket Frost, and this is described as an ability where you can equip a cryogenic gas emitter. You fire to throw the emitter that perpetually remains throughout the round, kind of like the Jacket ability. And when you use this ability, the Jacket Frost slows players caught inside of it. So far we have a defensive barrier, and we also have an ability that can slow down players that are caught inside of it. We have the ability Jack-O-Lantern, which I love the name, and this is basically a trap that scans for enemies, kind of like what Chamber has. And when a visible enemy comes in range, the trap counts down and then launches a fireball that explodes upon hitting the ground, creating a lingering fire zone that damages players within the zone. You can click the alternate fire button to charge it, turning it into a grenade that detonates upon hitting the ground, which does damage to anyone in its range. So it sounds like we essentially have a grenade, and we also have a trap, all in one ability. So literally imagine like Raze's nade, but then you can also combine it with a chamber trap that will then, instead of slow people, it will just shoot a fireball at them. That's pretty nuts. That would be a really, really powerful ability. So far, overall, I think that JJ would be like the new entire meta for sure, if they're actually in the game. And then the ultimate ability is called Jack-O-Ripper, which basically the Jack-O-Ripper, you would equip a Jack-O-Lantern to your gun muzzle, temporarily giving you incendiary ammo that damages players for a short amount of time. Killing an enemy creates a brief explosion that concusses enemies in its area. So this would be pretty insane. I mean, pretty much you'd have to imagine like a couple of enemies like next to each other, even if it's just 1 and 2 people, and you would kill one of them, and then you would end up stunning the person next to them. This would be kind of like using Chamber's ultimate and then shooting them with a sniper rifle, but instead of slowing them, it would just concuss them. Really nice ability. Overall, I love the ideas with JJ. And then here we even have all the different things that you can unlock from their player contract. We have a Trick or Treat spray, the JJ player card, the title Jacked, a boost spray, of course then unlocking the agent. We'd get a gun buddy called Spooky Grenade, a JJ spray, which looks very nice, a player title Grim Reaper, which would honestly be really nice to have. That'd be a really cool title. The Fallen Ascension player card, which looks sick, and then a shorty skin called Deadman. Meta. You can see his art right here, And meta is from the Reddit user computer_664. This was mainly just an idea where he is going to be an initiator from Norway who's a mix of tech and radiant. From the creator himself, he's saying, I mainly thought of meta, metallic, as his agent name. His main ability is a shield that can cover himself, kind of like a defensive barrier. And it only lasts about 3 seconds to make it relatively balanced. Consistent gunfire would slow you down while you'd be getting shot at. And his shield's HP is similar to the doors on Ascent, so after shooting at it for such a long time, it will just break through. His other ability would be called Deflect. It's a small radius, cone-like range that reflects abilities. It's not as strong as it sounds, as it acts like if you threw your ability at a wall. It can't deflect status abilities, and some alts even go past it, so Visalt, Brimstones, Breaches, etc. It mainly deflects moving abilities like Raze's Boombot, flashes, and even KO's knife. It mainly counters any moving abilities, so it can counter flashes and lineups. His last ability is basically a concuss, which acts like a sonic boom. It muffles your audio a bit while also concussing you, similar to a breach stun and an omen paranoia. Now check this out, this is meta's ult. It's similar to his deflect ability, but also a little bit like his concuss ability as well. When he uses his tech, he's basically merging and amplifying his abilities to create this massive cone to deflect all abilities. Basically, the user here didn't really explain it super well, but from what I'm getting from it, it sounds like that it's just going to be a giant force field that will literally just deflect any and all abilities, which I think would be crazy for stopping site pushes. And to top it off with a little bit of lore, his backstory is mainly just him being experimented on for how a tech affects Radiance, and he's gone rogue to help the other agents. His tech mainly manipulates the frequency of his powers, as all the testing has made his powers go haywire. This creator's concepts were from dialogue such as Killjoy asking Skye if she could test her on Radiant abilities to maybe upgrade them. Comment below to let me know who your favorite agent is on this list. Like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for notifications for future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and take it easy.